Hello everyone. Today we're going to see the question merge intervals. So, let us go through the question and then we'll just discuss out on the approaches we can follow and everything we can do in order to just smoothly go by it. Okay. Yeah, at first we have this. Given an array of intervals where intervals I stands for start I, comma, end I, merge all the overlapping intervals and return an array of non-overlapping intervals that cover all the intervals in the input. The answer can be returned in any order. Intervals are non-overlapping if they have no common point. For example, 1, 2 and 3, 4 are non-overlapping. But 1, 2 and 2, 3 are overlapping. And in place of this, what has to be returned? You have to return 1, 3. So that the new one that you get is non-overlapping. Because if I return 1, 3 right here, that says that now the intervals that are there are non-overlapping. And these are non-overlapping already. Right? Makes sense? So let's suppose we have been given 1, 3, 1, 5, and 6, 7. So what is the thing? It is like I can take one interval and then check it against other intervals, right? Then next I can just go and pick this interval, check it again, this interval, then this interval, right? So I can do that, checking each interval against the other intervals if it is, covered in those intervals already. And if it is done, I'll not take it, right? And that is big O of n square. But again, n square it's a little too high complexity for you to answer any algorithm, right? So now we're going to see how we can reduce this big O of n square. Reduce big O of n square to big O of n log n. Now when I talk about big O of n log n, the first thing that is ultra clear is that we need to make use of sorting, right? So let's say the input that has been given out here, it is 6, 7, 1, 5, 1, 3. So first of all, you will have to sort it. So it becomes 1, 3. Sorting happens on your first index. But if two vectors, they have first index as same, then you sort it on the second index. That is the case right here. Okay. So now we're done with this, right? Then what? Then we have this vector end. And this is my output. So the first has to be there. I'll put this. Now, how do I know they're overlapping? Okay, two intervals. Now, let's say this is one interval. Two intervals can be overlapping if, now this is start 1, this is end 1. If start 2 comes in, right? But end 2 is out. This is also overlapping case. Case 1. Second, now start 2 cannot be greater than start 1 because we have already sorted it. So this is not the possibility of having start 2 here. Right? Start 2 can be anywhere here. Start 2, if it is equal to E1, that is end 1, that is case 2. Makes sense? Start 3, if it is, start 2, if it is greater than E1, case 3. But then this is not overlapping case. Now there is one more thing to consider, that start 2, end 2. Now there can be a case where start 1 is here, end 1 is here, your start 2 is here, and your end 2 is just outside the bracket. And if it end 2 is outside the, outside your interval, then you have to take it into consideration. So when you have to take it into consideration, that is to say end 1 and end 2, we have to take max. Do you get this? So the the interval that is there, this start 1 and start 2 will always have start 1. But the second end 1 has to be the max of end 1 and end 2 so that we don't have overlapped intervals. We'll see this in the question 1, 3, 1, 5, 6, 7, right? So first of all, what you're going to do is we're going to pick up the first element after sorting and place it in my output area. Make sense? Good. Then I'm going to take up this second. I'm going to check, is my first element lesser than or equal to my already placed elements, my already placed vector's second element. This says 1, this says 3. I say yes. If this is 1, this is 3, 1 is here. Because 1 can be anywhere here, right? So 1 is here. This is overlapping because 1 and 5. So now what do? I say, okay, this 3 has to be replaced by 5. Max of 5 and 3. Good. Then I go to next. 6. Is 6 is 6 lesser than equal to 5? No. Then it says you take it up and place it out. Now let's say had it been 6, 8. And we had 7, 6, this was 6, 9. And we had 7, 8. So what had it been here? It would have been 6, 9. And then I came to this. Is 7 lesser than equal to 9? You would have said yes, 7 is lesser than equal to 9. Right? Then what could have been this element? Max of 9 and 8. So it's 9. I could have jumped off this element and moved to the next element. Does that make sense? I hope it does so. So now if we come to the coding part, let's see the code part. So we have vector, we have, right, merge intervals, vector, vector, int, and we have been given input. Make sense? Then we create vector, vector, int, output. Then what we do? Next, we sort. ip.begin and ip.end. Now, if my IP's size is equivalent to 0, then you just return output, OP. You don't have to do anything else. What you have to do? OP dot pushback IP what? IP 0. Right? Then for int I is not 0 because first element you've already taken. I is 1, I less than IP dot size, I plus plus. Now what do I have to see? This is, see, This is 1 comma 2 and this is inside my OP, and then I have another thing that is 1 comma 5 outside the OP, and this is in my input. So if IP I 0 is less than equal to, what is this? OP dot back 1, right? If IP I0 is less than equal to OP dot back, okay, then OP dot back 1 is max of OP dot back 1 comma IPI 1. Okay, makes sense? Else OP dot push back IPI. So else you can just push it back, right? Else you don't have to think anything about it. What and how, it's not like you push it this way, you just have to push it in a way that goes in, that is in the form of a vector that says you have to push in IP 0 0 and your IP 0 1. And with that, you have to push it here also that way. IPI 0 and IPI 1. I hope it's clear with everyone. IPI 1. And post all this, you can just return OP. So yeah, with this you have time complexity of big O n log n plus big O of n. Space complexity, since this OP vector is used only for answer. You can take big O of 1. Depends on how you frame your answer before an interviewer. It's all on that. Make sense? Because we used it primarily for our answer purpose. Had it not been for the answer purpose, you could have thought of something else, but we used it for the answer purpose. So you can use it big O of 1. So if you do this, this gets to be. Do you get that? If you have any, any queries, any concerns, any doubts, just make sure you're making use of the comment section. With that, I should take your leave. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.